Good afternoon, this is Lucky Links. I know I just shot one of these yesterday, but I'm going to continue showing you guys a little more about using some of these cards like Sibilla, Whitman, even Gypsy Witch. Oh, I know the Gypsy Witch has got some very specific rules, quote unquote, that it's supposed to use. There's a reason why I've been going in and doing it this way. And showing you guys this way is because part of the problem with a lot of these methods that folks come up with is that they engage the critical mind. And what you're trying to do when you're reading and you really want to read psychically, which is the reason that people always come to me and ask me to help them, hey, can you help me read this more? Can you help me develop my psychic ability? Can you help me take it to the next level? Can you help me to be able to read without cards? And if you want to read without cards, which I'm going to tell you and I'm going to warn you freaks people out. If you don't have anything in front of you, you just start telling them stuff. It can work against you. Just be aware of that. But if you really want to read psychically, you gotta get past using the critical mind. And some of the ways that people have, and the traditions that people have for reading Lenormand and Sibilla and these other oracles, is that they engage the critical mind. Is that you start with these combinations, these card combinations, or these meanings, or this one means that you keep going, this one means you stop, this one means you're not feeling it then. And by feeling, I don't mean emotion, because if you're reading from your emotion, you're probably projecting onto people. So I'm revealing a lot in this video here about, the secrets of really being a good reader, and if you really want to read psychically, you can't do that. You can't read with your critical mind because you're going to project. And what's going to happen is eventually you're going to get stuck on the meanings, and you're going to get stuck on the combinations, or you're going to get stuck on the configuration that you're supposed to have, because a lot of these use configurations. I've said this in other videos, but years and years ago when I started reading Lenormand, I didn't know there were any traditions, and I just would lay it out at the Grand Tableau and I'd read them. And I would pay attention to what was jumping out, and I found that it was a very accurate way to read. And sometimes I'd look at what direction the person was looking in, but even then, when you have these hard and fast rules that this has got to, when it's this, it's got to mean that. You're gonna come up with these moments when you're like, I don't know what this means. And one of the biggest ones is with the man and the woman card. Someone will come up with the man and the woman, they're like, there's no man or woman, what does this mean? And I discussed that in other videos, and I actually have a solution for that in my Lucky Links fortune cards. We're going to do this today, and I'm gonna do another set of sentences, or a sentence like I did yesterday, in the video I did yesterday. And this is a man who wants to retire and buy some island property. So he wants to know if he can make it happen. So we're gonna use the Scarabeo, little Scarabeo Sibilla cards, and we're gonna keep in the vein that I've been talking about, where you're not just gonna look at the words, you're not just gonna look at the pictures. You're gonna get a sense, an overall sense. Also, you got to be really careful too, because sometimes you will see the words that will engage your critical mind, and sometimes you're going to go with the opposite feeling on what you get. Sometimes you know what it says, but it tells you it's something else. And when that happens, you're usually reading it from a deeper part of yourself, or a higher part of yourself, however you want to say it. Of course, every time I do these videos in a public place, that's the moment when 50 people show up and start speaking very loudly. So, that said, all right, gentleman wants to retire. He wants to retire, and he wants some island property, and he wants to know if he can make it happen. And then spend half the year in the island, half the year in the States. So what does that look like? Alright, so I just dropped a whole bunch of them. Okay, so we got the voyage here, and the voyage feels like would indicate the actual wanting to go on the trip and wanting to be, so getting the property, like I said. Okay, these all fell out, so I'm going to start with these. I don't always do that, but it says, okay, so loss of money. So that means that this distant place, voyage, this distant place will cost him a money, and that's the concern. The enemy, that's his fear. Now I got the tenderness card, which suggests to me and feels to me like that's the object of his affection. There's something that will make him feel like he's arrived or he's safe or whatever. This is a key here because it feels like it's representing the key to the whole picture. There's something in his identity, there's something in his makeup, there's something in him right now that will be insecure if he can't do this. Okay, feels almost fragile. So that, and there he is. Okay, that's the consultant card, right? So there he is. All right. So then, and there's the house. Okay. This is the city house. Okay. So he's not satisfied with the one house he's got. He wants the other one too. And the tenderness feels like the vulnerability that he feels of only having this. Which means right now that I'm feeling overall is the loss. Remember I said there was the loss of money? The real loss is his lack of understanding of value and what to do with it. He's missing out on the real opportunity here. He's by looking forward and wanting this other thing and not understanding the power or the potential that he could gain or garner from the house he's got. Pensioner is his retirement. So he's concerned about retiring in that space, and this is his wife. It feels dead on his wife. It just feels like it. It says, so the blonde woman came up. It doesn't matter. Blonde, brunette, sometimes you just feel it. And the reason that she's blonde is it feels like she's very much a part of it, but it feels like she's pale in her support. This one is weakness. There we go. So she's her weakness. Her weakness. Remember I said it feels like she's pale? It feels like a weakness. She's got a weakness, and this is the country house. So he's doing it for her. She's encouraging this, and it's creating some problems for him. Now what I feel like is going to come out of this is I feel like there's going to be a health problem that comes out of this. So now what we did is we just shuffled the cards. Some fell out. We did it. We looked at the situation. By the way, this is a real situation. Usually when I do these, there's a real situation that I'm thinking of when I do them. So then that's what's going on here, right? That feels like the situation, and I'm willing to bet that something's about to come up relating to sickness. Okay, so we got a visit. So that was a visit that they took to this place. It was an official visit to scope it out. The soldier feels like they went there to scope it out. Okay. So this is, you see how I'm doing this? Because sometimes people get all upset with these. It's like, well, where's the soldier? There's no soldier. The soldier is a lookout. So this combination says they went for a lookout. And then what comes of that is some money. So it costs them to go look at it. The fact that these money cards are coming up says that the money's a big object for them and it's a big thing for them. Now who is this? A sincere friend. So I believe that they met someone out there who spoke to them and tried to encourage them towards this success. I also believe like they're trying to keep up with the Joneses. They're trying to keep up with their friend's success. Okay? That never ends well. What is this? Infantilism. Okay, so it means that it's a very naive notion that they have to keep up with themselves. Already, if you've listened to everything I've said, it feels like it's setting the stage for something that's not too cool in the long run. You got the values being off, you got him not being satisfied with what he's got, you got him trying to keep up with the Joneses, you got him with a naive notion. Now you could actually say that this was a dream that someone had, and it does feel like it's her dream. By the way, I don't know if you can't see this, but I just laid them out, and then I'm laying these three down. This card's actually touching, maybe I can get it to you. Here we go. This card here, you see that, is touching, there we go, there we go, it's touching her. So you might be able to say at that moment, it was her dream when she was a child to live like this. And he's trying to make it come true for her. But again, you got to be careful that you don't go too much in the critical mind, because you'll lose it. So I'm seeing this connection here and I'm going, no, I feel it. I feel it's coming from her. The fact that it's touching it just tells me that's the case. Okay, so what do we got here? Victory. Victory feels like hers. And okay, so it's an inconsistent victory. So they don't have everything in place to make this happen, and they're worried about it. And then this one is impediment. There is something standing in their way. What they thought, the trip to the country. And then what is this one? There's a delay. So they don't have the funds, they don't have it, they haven't organized it all, they don't have everything they thought they would have to make this happen. So now what's going to come out of it next? I'm going to start another line. There's the trap. The trap is they're going to put themselves further in debt, I believe. And that's going to result in, and then what is this one? Chattering. The chap is they're going to keep going over and over and over and over it again. Flatterer. Someone is going to be trying to get them, convince them that they have to do this to further the trap that's going on. Now keep in mind that the trap would never be set if it wasn't for their his insecurity about it. They would be immune to this. Hope. So someone's feeding them with hope. No, you can do this. You can make this happen. And they think that the person is being true, but they're not. And then this is a letter. The letter goes with someone else's presence. There's a third piece to that. And then here's this. This is a dark-haired man. So that feels like a communication from someone who is trying to encourage them to do this, and the present feels like he's sweetening the deal, or he's trying to sweeten the deal. Okay, so that feels like a real estate person who's acting like a friend, but is just telling whatever they want to hear. Anger will emerge. Here's where it gets weird. And then that's thought. So it's going to be eating them up about this, and then it's going to push them to take the gamble. Here's where it's going to go wrong. There's the angry woman. It starts to fall apart here, and it feels like it gets very angry. A lot of money. They make the investment. There's death. It causes a problem here and a quarrel. So you see that this starts to break out. Now what it feels like here is the protector feels like this is where I get one of those cases where it feels like the opposite. The protector feels like it's telling me the opposite is happening. At that point, they start to get sick. And there's a surprise sickness that they didn't intend. And then there's displeasure. And then this is a widow. So it could actually kill him. Wow. That took a dark turn real fast. I could go on with the rest of these, but you get the idea. There's a lawyer there. His estate comes into place. I'm just going to leave it there. So now you see how you do this. I'm using the qualities. I'm building out the story. I'm feeling it. I'm touching it lightly with my mind. I'm not going deeply into the critical mind. I'm not using too many rules, but there is a process, and there is a There's a method and there's a pattern to what I'm doing here. If you're astute, you'll pick it up. Okay? You've got to practice these things. You got to play with these things. You got to make it your friend. If it's not your friend, and if you're trying to force it, it won't go. It won't. You know. It'll turn. It'll be harder. Let's just say that. And the more you try to use your critical mind, and the more you try to use these rules that people are using, and the more you try to adhere to just the rules, the more it's going to turn on you. So that's how you do it. That's a bigger picture. I'm Lucky Links. Try it yourself. Use your Gypsy cards. Use your Sibilla cards. And if you guys want a reading, if you want a Sibilla reading, give me a call or drop me an email. conjurehope@gmail.com or 779-302-8009. Sometimes it turns kind of dark. When you see the beginning piece, that's the insecurity that drives it. You got to understand what's really valuable in life, and it can turn on you. I'm Lucky Links, again, wishing you success and good fortune in all you do, and try it out and let me know how it works for you. Have a great day.